All right, we're back for part two, talking about the C21 listing assets tools, and we'll get into it right away. If you remember what we're the purpose of this, we described in part one. So let's hit that and get into it right away. If you remember from this page, we come down and hit the edit site. We already did what we needed to do, which was that alternate URL that we created from there in part one. So go back into the control panel, let the Unique Property Sites tab open up, populate. We did the user settings. This time, today in part two, we're going to do the control panel. And as you can see, there's a whole host of different tools and options that we can use to modify the videos, the websites, learn how to enhance the websites to actually tie them into other assets. So let's get started. Again, that's that same learning center that we looked at. And let's hit the first link, website. So this is a control option. The default, which they recommend, is live to the public. Makes sense, right? We really don't do the coming soon, so probably don't have much of a use for that. Password protected. You might look at that and say, why would you want to password protect the property website? The only application that I could think of, and I'm not sure if that's what's behind it, but if you think about, a higher end property that may have a lot of, $1 million or more worth of art on the walls and shelves, and, the seller's kind of like, well, I don't want the public looking inside, I want to have photographs done the inside of my house and expose, all of my valuable works of art. So you might talk to them about the fact, well, hey, you know what? We can take all those photos, we can put it up on the internet, but we can password protect it and not let anybody see it without the password. And we could qualify the buyers before we give them the password. Now you might think, well, somebody's going to, qualified buyer is going to want to see the stuff live. Well, that's true. Eventually they will. But again, you've got a very valuable property, marketing it around the world, and maybe you catch, maybe there's somebody who may be interested in a foreign country or another part of the States, and you want to be able to show them, you want to be able to let them see videos, you want to let them see all the photos and stuff. So you'll give them the password when the seller approves, and they can click in and take a look. And the other option is to take it offline, which I'm not sure exactly why you'd want to do that, but it's there. So that is the website settings. It gives you control over the access. Now, this is kind of a useless link because there's nothing you can do here. It says that any changes need to come through Crest, but we actually showed you in part one that little workaround that we were able to create an alternate link. Here's where you can pick up compliant links. This would be the main site. If you wanted to use an MLS friendly, it's an unbranded version, so that you could put the link in the MLS. You can pick that up here. And then a mobile version is available. Let's click on view just to check it out. So there's the preview of the mobile, and of course looks like it's tailored and formatted for a mobile phone. So there you have that, all the way down, including the video, the map, and you can give them a link to hit the desktop if they wanted. So that's there, okay? Compliant links. Now here's another interesting one. Oops, I hit the wrong tab. Statistics. Now these statistics are different than the golden ruler. Golden ruler is comprehensive, for all of the property advertising across all of the venues. This is just statistics for this particular website. And interestingly, you can keep it from public view. You can allow it to be viewed by the public, or you can put a password on that. And it's pretty basic stuff. Where is the traffic coming from, desktop or mobile, month by month views, total views, and so forth. I never did a thing with this site, so that's why all the activity is today, basically. I never used it for anything. So that's back to statistics. Okay, these are the where you can see a little bit more. This is for this particular site. So if you wanted to change the color scheme, the header, the layout for this site, this is different than the defaults. So now you can see the background image is really what makes the difference. How do I have that set up? Okay, I have what's called modern selected. They're very subtle. I hope you can see it on the video. There's a pattern behind the black or on the gray. It's a very subtle thing. Here's another one that's subtle too. Preview the fleur de lis. That's the fine home and estate one. Again, I hope you can see it on the video. So those are your real options. I mean, unless you want it to change where the relentless gold is versus the almost black versus the medium gray. You could choose to have no background at all. Just click preview and see them. As I said earlier, this is the default of the defaults. And you just make your decision whether you want to select any of them, and they'll update it. So you can go back and let's just change the header. Okay, if you remember what we had the family ready. And let's just say, well, we don't think that's appropriate for this. We rather just go with the pattern. Okay, so let's just select that. Okay, reload it and see the different header. Again, it's up to you. You can have no header, any of those choices. So that's what we do in that section. Okay, we already really covered the layout. So if you wanted to change your layout, you could do that. Here's an interesting section here. First two are kind of basic. This would be if you wanted to include a finance page, yes or no, just check it or uncheck it. It has a payment estimator, mortgage calculator. Most makes sense to keep them, right? Same thing with a virtual tour. Here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Here's a chance to link another video. If you notice on the site as it stands, right? You go to video. This is the standard video that's created, or a version of it. We're going to show you how to make all different kind of versions. But there's only one, right? Now, if you have invested in hiring a photographer to create a video, or you created a nice one yourself, you can actually include that on the site. And the way you want to do that is to go and get the embed code. So let's pick one. This one is actually for that property. That's the outside. This is the inside. Let's just say we wanted to show them the inside. So click on locate your video in your YouTube account, and then click on share. You're going to want to pick up the embed code, and you could actually start at a different time. There's different options, whether they show suggestions and so forth. But what you want to do is select that code, copy it into your paste buffer, and go back to where we're working. Click embed, paste that in, hit save. Okay, so the video's been added. We'll go back. Let's reload our page and see if we see any difference. Right. Oh, look at that. There's another video link. Now we have two. And there it is.
Let's step into the door of Unit 350.
Yes, let's step into the door. And then there's, again, we're going to get into how we can alter this video as well. So that's one change that we were able to make. Here's another nice one too, custom links. There's a lot of flexibility here. You could actually upload PDF documents that you wanted to offer from download, and a button will be created and they'll download whatever you put up there. Maybe it's some type of a disclosure, or maybe you have a nice one-page summary of all the recent updates or enhancements to the property. I mean, you name it. Whatever you can create a PDF, you can include that. What we're going to do today is just add another link. So we're going to go and get a link, and this is where I thought about a nice way to tie them together. This is a detailed site, so why don't we grab the link from that. Okay, go back to where we're working. Let's paste that in here, and let's give it a name. See more information, something that will entice them to click it. We'll save that. And let's go to our site. See, do we see any differences? Reload it. Oh, there we go. We've got another button. See more information. So what happens when we click that? There it goes. This way you've linked your detail property website to the unique property website. Oh, while we're on this page, let me just point out, excuse me, something. Captions. When you store captions with your photos, I mean, it starts basically when you load them up into app files. Carla can help you if you're not sure exactly how to store the captions with your photos. She'll show you how. And of course, they go out into the MLS, so when people look at your photos, they see the caption. But here's another reason why you want to do it, is because they also come out in here. And you might say that, well, anybody could see what the pictures are, but it's a chance for marketing again, right? You can give your spin, you can give your highlights of, here, sit back and relax in the living room and gaze out to the sun and sand and blah, blah, blah. Relax in the heated pool, enjoy the, your creativeness in how you're marketing the property. This is just another easy way. Take some time when you load your photos into the listing in app files and give it some captions, and you've got a benefit here as well. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so let's go back to our control panel, and you could put multiple links, for more if you had more links to go to or more documents. Really nice. I'm very excited about that because you're tying together the two assets into one. This was that Craigslist thing that I mentioned. It's actually basically generating a tailored set of HTML that you could, copy from selecting it here, putting it into Craigslist, or, here's the variables. This is the way you can change the photos that are included. You can change the header scheme, even the font, the layout. And once you save the updates, this code gets regenerated, and you just click on that to copy it, select it, and copy it. And again, they call it a Craigslist flyer, but you can paste that HTML into any website where you have HTML control over the code, and just have another option. So that's there. QR code probably be before we get to the videos, we'll look at that quickly. These kind of have waned in popularity. They were really big a while ago. Some people still use them. Obviously you can send them out online through a number of different ways. You can even print them. Here's how to download and save the codes for PCs and Macs. You put them, include them on your property flyers, open house flyers, any other collateral you're creating. And it gives the person the ability to just, scan that from their phone, and it'll take them all automatically to this website. So these are generated for this specific site. So it's just another tool. You may find a use for it, depending on the property, depending on how you're marketing it. That's the sign writer that I mentioned when I talked about in part one about having a shorter link. Because this, here, this is 22 feet, right? 24 inches. Now you can imagine the type. If you had a really long name, like they come by default, depending on the address, the print is going to be really small and almost, not visible from the street. So again, when we saw in part one, creating that shorter alias would be very useful if you were going to get a domain writer. I'm sure you've seen these around as you ride around. I know I've seen people with them up on their signs. I've seen the QR codes up on them too. So, okay, that's that. You can even order a top-level domain if you wanted a custom domain through them. I don't know how good they are. Obviously, fees apply. So let's get into the video. This is where there's a lot of beneficial tools. Okay? You're going to see the standard that's created. Mine's a little bit different because I've been making all different versions. But you can pick up the links. There's a direct link, there's the YouTube link. Um, Here's a link to download it. You want to download your video, especially when you make a shorter one, onto your device, and this way you can use that in other advertising. You can use it in a Facebook ad if you make the short one. We'll show you how to do that. There's embed code. You can create an unbranded video so that you can include it in the listing. There's a Spanish language option. I've not tried that. I don't know how good, the translation is, but somebody can try it and see if that's part of your marketing plan. But let's hit edit video because that's where we do all of the interesting work. The default is classic. I had already changed it to slick, so let's see what slick looks like. Let's go to that video. It kind of starts out the same. There.
Looking for the home of your dreams?
Different types of fades. So you can stick with classic is how they're built. There's contemporary. It just gives you a sample what contemporary looks like. I didn't like that. I tried that. The colors are like
looking for that one-of-a-kind property?
Creepy. I didn't think it was good. I think slick is better for classic. And as far as music, you can choose either no music or I think the one is the default. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, I think it is. And there's different, again, depending on the property, depending on how you're marketing it, you may want to choose to build the videos with different music. They were all okay. This one I thought was a little creepy for, real estate. Listen to this one. I don't know. It's just weird. I like that. I picked that one. You can change the talent. Brad is the default. You'll recognize his voice.
Hello, my name is Brad, and this is a sample of my voice.
Thanks, Brad. Check them out. You could have there's no narration at all. I actually think Amanda and Amy sound pretty good.
Hello, my name is Amy, and this is a sample of my voice. Hello, my name is Amanda.
Okay. Now here's the most useful. By default, when they create them, they want to use all the images. So they say, up to 3 minutes long. They're all over 2 and pretty much close to 3. And in this day and age, it's a pretty useless video because nobody wants to watch a video that long for a property. They call the middle one optimal, which I guess it is. It's, up to 90 seconds and you're using 14. But for all intents and purposes, nowadays, short and sweet is the option you want to build because it's going to be a minute or less. It only is going to use the 8 images, but you can use that for a whole bunch of other purposes on social media. I mean, you can actually use that video in a Facebook ad, whereas with this one, you can't even, load it up. So if you make any changes, you want to hit Build Video, and let's see, what did I do? Maybe I'll change to Amy. I think that's a change. And I'm going to hit Build Video. And what happens is that you go into the build process, so you can't make any other changes until it's done. Now, it says that it might take anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple of hours. I guess it, again, depends on how busy the system is. It gets into a queue. When I've made the changes today, I've made it a whole bunch of times, and I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so it's done. So in any event, you can just go back to the control panel. So that's really all that I wanted to cover. You can see how you can change these sites, change the videos to make it more useful for the marketing effort for a particular property. And again, remember, adding another video that you have invested in as an option. I have that exterior walk. I could add that in as well. People like to watch video, so the more video options you give them, the more they may want to come and see it. And then that link, I think this one is a must to definitely add this to all of them, because you want to click over and get into that details site, which has so much more. Okay, so again, it's all done through the control panel, all accessible from your 21 online. And as usual, let me know if you have any questions about it. If anything doesn't make sense, or if you run into any difficulties, just let me know and I'll be glad to help walk you through it. See you around.